Good morning. Yeah, it's May 6th. Tuesday, May 6th at 10:20 a.m. Is there too much or not enough? That's what I titled this. I think there's just about the right amount. I am welcoming and becoming. Ask questions, please. Ask me questions. I'm good with that. I'm going to read something, a very old piece of paper that was found recently. I think it was my mother-in-law's neighbor, Mitchell. Well, I know it was my mother-in-law's neighbor, Mitchell Bingham, who wrote this thing called In Sunshine and in Shadows. It's a journal dedicated to all those who believe in God and to all those who don't believe in God, which is a funny dedication. I think it was written in 1979, so not that long ago, just a couple of weeks. It's 2025. Ding, 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 ding. Time. Anyway, this little excerpt is called, I don't know how little it is, goes on a bit. So do I. Oh, cold this morning. It is unseasonably cold in Southern California, but it doesn't stop the hummingbirds in the trees taking nectar from the flowers. There are flowers everywhere. Very nice. Flowering trees. I like them. Okay, this is a little excerpt called Life and Heaven. Life is a voyage, a voyage from place to place. We find ourselves on it. We don't understand, but we make frantic efforts to understand, which we call science. Then God can be dispensed with, an old-fashioned concept, all tucked into a special category called religion, which we can turn on and off. It's no longer fashionable in science to inject the concept of God. It's okay elsewhere, but not there. Yet every vibration of my perceptive being speaks of him. I am supposedly deliberating to ignore him, as though the universe were a machine which can work in parts and pieces. He's describing what many people externalize as, it's commonly called the ceramic God, an externalized God, and that's why he gives him or her or it a sex. It's always him, because he's still within the hierarchy that is run by a patriarchy. And the matriarchy has since taken a foothold, but it's still divisive. So we have to strongly consider a better way, a betterarchy. Thank you, Danny Katz. DannyKatz.com. She's got a handle on this. She's very good, as was Jung and many other preceding people who wrote at great length about the understanding of our humanity, what we're doing, why we're doing it, how we're doing it. A brilliant man I've been listening to for quite a while called Shane Sador. I like his stuff. The Rebel's Advocate is a moniker that he uses. And then another man called Matt McKinley, quantum of consciousness, sorry, I think. Anyway, or Nigel Mitchell, Tunnel Mental. But we all want to help humanity take the next step, or at least allow the next step to be taken. All right. Okay, so back to Mitch Brigham. Okay. Every day is an excitement. Every day is full of joy. Even the most ordinary, mundane things fill me with delight. Maybe I do nothing, succeed with nothing, but thou, O Father, hast given me a tremendous life. Mary Ellie, a young girl of Washington, said, "Every day is a new adventure. There is nothing that holds me. Everything moves along subtly and imperceptibly. God revolves many things, days, months, years, lifetimes. We only perceive them once in a while. There is the circumstance that the world is glorious, that every prospect pleaseth. Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They toil not, neither do they spin. And yet I say unto you that even Solomon, in all his glory, was not arrayed like one of these." How do I reconcile that with the apparent rejection of, "Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, but lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven? For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also." He's talking about eternal life versus the human duality, which is something that I've taken a lot into consideration. Hello, Conrad. I'm reading a man's journal that we found recently. He lived in the Pacific Palisades many years ago. He's since passed away. He wrote a book on psychic adventures. But he also did this journal and many other things. Anyway, hope you're well, Conrad. Soccer today, watching a semi-final match in the Champions League. That'll be interesting today. I don't know if you like soccer. Wow, amazing. That's a real thing, from real past to real future. Yes. We span like the great Colossus. We have one foot on one side of the river and another foot on the other side of the river. That between our human and eternal self, we're spanning that. And that's how advanced we have become, because we've bothered to sit and ponder that which must have amazed the first man, whoever that was. You know, I mean, I'm reading a lot of pre-written history to find out about man and listening to great scholars. So who knows? Okay. So he's talking about, for where your treasure is, that there will your heart be also. You see, I think modern man has made a terrible mistake, in as much as modern man assumes that power is everything. To be the most powerful is everything. And they've made a second mistake to compound that mistake, which is the love of power. And that's been misinterpreted or usurped or used in order to get us into a position where many believe that money is power. But God is power. Love is power. God is love. Love is God. So we have this struggle in mankind. Are we doing it for love? Or are we doing it for money? And we have to be careful because it's the love of money. You know, that's the real saying. It's not money. Money is the root of all evil. It's the love of money. So you've idolized, you've made an idol of money. And that's wrong-footed mankind. All my lifetime, last couple hundred years. I think we've been doing it wrong for a couple of hundred years. And we have to change. Okay. It is clear that I mustn't deny the glory that I feel and see. That is something given, added, which not all see or feel, which many, in fact, vehemently deny. That must be an essential element of life or heaven, which I don't have to reject or do without, but which heaven intensifies or gives more of. The flower becomes more flower, the ocean more ocean. My love, one pebble on a beach as part of the wide world of love. My love, one pebble on a beach as part of the wide world of love. Interesting. Let's see. What is your favourite team? I'm a Manchester United supporter. I was since a little boy. When I was a little boy, I was watching, I don't know, George Best and Bobby Charlton and people like that from Man United, thinking, oh my God, these people are amazing. So I became a Manchester United fan, a lifelong Manchester United fan, and I've stuck with them through ups and downs. Currently a bit of a dip, but as I think mankind, we will rise again. So I see that thinking on outer world and outer life, I made mistake to think like it will be future, but that should be outer future as well. Yes, there is nothing. I mean, when I've listened to many philosophers and watched many people pontificate on the mismeasurement of man. You know, we have a compulsion to measure everything and make it scientific, and I understand that from an engineering point of view, to be very important to have these measurements. But we've mismeasured man. You see, we didn't equate the spiritual side of man. We never put it in the equation because science stole the idea of Godhead, the idea that we are all fractals of God. Science stole that and said, no, that's outside of you. We control you with our science and our measurements. Well, without spirituality, we can't grow anyway. If we don't have a spiritual aspect, if we don't have an idea that there is a creator of some sort, I don't know what it is, who it is, where it is. I don't know if my eternal life is I do feel that my eternal life is waiting for me. Hi, come on. Hi, kitty. Cat's come to visit. This is City Cat. Hi, City Cat. Look, you're on telly. Hi, kitty. This is a lovely little cat. There you go. Oof. I like cats. Okay. Oh, you're asking to go outside? Okay. I'll put him outside. Put her outside in a little while. See, you're thinking, I've been to Manchester. Bees City. Nice friend. Yeah. Manchester's a nice industrial town that has somewhat of a checkered past. But then most industrial towns do. They thought they had the answer. They had the question. Let me put the cat out. 1 second. Oh, I can reach over to the door from here. Go on. Out. Psst, go. Go. You stood by the door. Go. Thank you. Oh. Yes, nice friend. Yes, we have nice friends. Okay. Okay, he's quoting C.S. Lewis, or a suggestion. C.S. Lewis suggests this in the Images of the Great Divorce. Well, C.S. Lewis, I don't think, did his own illustrations, but the images he may master with his words. So there's the thing about art. Art can be many things, many faceted. Okay. So it's in the Images of the Great Divorce. Grass, streams, trees, waterfalls are more real than ever. The scorpion of lust, when sacrificed as treasure on earth, becomes a superb stallion on which the rider can be borne to the holy mount. Just as a dream reflects the waking day before with its own all-encompassing reality, so our earth may reflect the super reality of a heaven, which alas we deny because the reality of this world is so intense. Now, when he wrote this, it was getting very intense. The 70s, I think, post Second World War, there was a huge shift in the way humans viewed the world and its progression or regression. I think it stood still and went, what? But anyway, okay. We deny heaven because the reality of this world is so intense. Okay. And then he puts a little addendum in there. At least the sci-fi people postulate various realities coexistent with ours, if not a super reality. Who knows? Once the mind begins with the fantasies of other universes, there is no stopping, nor need there be. And that's it, you see. I mean, it comes down to, I'm going to finish there, even though there's quite a lot more of that section of this pamphlet, which is very interesting, Life in Heaven. I'm going to stay away from that for a sec because what it triggers in me is the knowledge that I've accumulated whilst being here in Los Angeles, and to recognize, of course, the influence of media upon humans, you know, the mass media that is put forth, albeit fantasy, albeit made up stuff, because it's made up. Well, I mean, everybody knows now, surely everybody knows by now that it's all made up. It's not really what you're perceiving is your reality. And your reality has as much to do with the bricks and mortar reality of our physical self as we want. And if we have an inner knowing of eternal life through recognizing that there must be a better system by which humans exist, then we're not negating God. We're saying we're ready. We're ready to make that progress. And I'm ready to make progress. That doesn't mean I'm ready to die. I like this human experience. It's fun. I get to play, and I get to play with my friends. realities are fighting here over each other. They certainly are. I mean, that's what we're being sold. This is why here in Los Angeles, I mean, I've done some physical walking and opening up in certain locations, especially along the Verdugo mountains and the hillsides and the continued mountains around my end of the valley where I am at the moment. A lot of very interesting feelings and a lot of history behind certain areas, caves in the mountainside, pictographs, sort of interesting cave drawings that seem very, very old, but could be as young as, but they've been blocked off, and we're not allowed to see some of the areas in which there's one area that I've tried to go visit. They don't let you in anymore because it's the huge area around China Lake, but it's been blocked off from humanity. It's the largest collection of these wonderful cave drawings and drawings by Native American Indians, and we don't know whoever preceded, whatever. But this is the history we're being steered away from, and that's all now a Navy weapons training base, and they stole the land back all around where these petroglyphs, as they're called, are. I don't know. So, but curiously, I've dug deep into the pre-settler version of California, and it is interesting. It is curious, and there are what I feel are portals in and around these caves. I get an incredible feeling of dread and anxiety at the entrance to these portals. So I went to visit a cave with a friend recently up in the mountains here in Chatsworth, and I was like, no, can't go. Not go in the final. I mean, I walked a long way with him, and he was determined to go into this one cave, and he did, but I stood a good 400 yards back on the trail and said, no, I can't go any further. Something's stopping me. You go, report back. And he fell over when he in the cave, and fell over on the way back. He skinned his knees. He was in a particularly weird mood afterwards, and he's not a weird. I mean, obviously, there's the need for us to inquire into these things, but I couldn't go in. He did, and since then he's been nothing but depressed. I talk to him quite a lot, and I need to talk to him again soon. But yeah, there are many things unknown to man that are just there, right close to you. I mean, it might be the nearest physical opening or whatever. It might be something that fires your brain. But the sci-fi people, this is mentioned in that book, the science fiction people pick up that stuff and they go, oh, people are interested, and they run with it, and they give us all these ridiculous things, which ends up with, watching a pop star go into space on a rocket that doesn't even exist. I mean, it's just crazy stuff, but it's meant to entertain us or control us, and it could be both. And that's what I think is wrong with the media, is it's trying to control our perception, and it's not clean. Our society is not clean. It's not cleansed. So through the doors of perception must be cleansed. I mean, that was Blake many centuries ago. So, you know, it's up to you to cleanse those doors of perception and to go forward and go, okay. And I'm a human. I have the duality. I've done some fucked up things. Okay. Any more questions? I'm going to go soon because it's 25 minutes. Everybody else was fighting here over each other. That rather wrong attitude, but his wide approach, even seen in sport. Sorry, you must have been responding to something I said. Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be the wrong attitude towards money. Well, yeah, seen in sport, of course. I mean, the thing is, when you create a false god that is an essential for your daily living, which is called money, when you make it into a false god, then people will fight each other to say my god's bigger than your god, so my dollar is bigger than your pound, or my shekel is worth more than your blah blah, and it's like no, it's not God. The love of money is not God. The love of money is a false dichotomy. Okay, forget that. Being in London, I've been to Chislehurst one day. Saxon tunnels, very interesting. Yes, they're also yes, it was used as a hospital during World War II. Yes, that's Chislehurst Caves. Yes, in the oldest area there was Druid's altar. Yes, I mean, I've been studying and very interested in monoliths, megaliths, these stone circles and crop circle, all that sort of stuff. My favorite book on it, which I'm saying sadly got ruined in, by getting wet, a big, thick anthology called The Modern Antiquarian by Julian Cope. And it lists all the monoliths of Europe, and it tells you a brief history or a brief belief of what the history is behind each one. I always, when I go back to England, I make an effort and usually go. I have the last 4 or 5 times, and stand in the middle of Avebury Stone Circle. I used to live within sight of the stones at Avebury Stone Circle. So I have a definite interest in pre-written history, because I think once we achieved a way of communicating with each other, the written word, then we also learned to manipulate people with it. So, the written word is a lie. Or is it? So we have to discern our own truth. And that's where discernment comes in. Yeah. There's some very odd places in England, in Britain, with caves and burial chambers. I sat in, in the entrance of a burial chamber last time I was there, called Bella's Nap. Very interesting. Okay, anyway, that's about it. Lots of love. I went all over the place on that one. Okay. Yep. And peace. Keep exploring. Life's an adventure.